Checking 1 2 1 2.
Welcome to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert.
Audio is important, and in that regard, I've got a microphone to review. Today, you're going to hear the quality of the FiFine K688 podcast-style microphone. And then I'm going to compare it to two other microphones, one in the same class and one that's a completely different style of mic. And this is not a scientific test, it's just how I like to test microphones. Now, I'm assuming you're here because you're starting a podcast, or you're looking for a good gaming mic, or maybe you're just looking for a good quality mic for your studio setup. But no matter the reason, you're here, and hopefully I can show you what you came here to see. Or hear in this case. We'll start with what this mic comes with in the box, and then I'll show you how it sounds in a bunch of different scenarios and configurations. And then we'll take a listen to the two alternatives so you can compare your options. Let's get into it. Oh, but before we do, a disclaimer. FiFine did send me this microphone for review, but they did not pay me, and they have no say as to what I have to say about this microphone, good or bad. Now let's get into it.
Let's take a look. We have our user's manual, USB-A to USB-C cable. We have a boom arm adapter, and the mic itself. Headphone volume, the gain knob, XLR connection, the 3.5mm headphone jack, and the USB-C connection. It comes with a shock mount. This pop filter has like a smooth texture to it, and all metal inside.
Checking 1 2 1 2. All right, we're now listening to the FiFine K688 going through XLR into my audio interface. This is the unprocessed sound. How do you like it? I actually have the gain fully maxed on my audio interface, and it does come up a little bit low. So it's a good amount of headroom, but I am registering at negative 12 dB. So it works. Some notable specs. First, this is a dynamic microphone. So to get your best signal, you speak into the end of the microphone like this and not on the side like you would on a condenser microphone. It has a cardioid pickup pattern. Cardioid looks like this. So as you can see, there's a lot of rejection on the back of the microphone, and it's very focused in this area here. As soon as you step 2 or 3 feet away, it drops off quite drastically, or you turn your head away, you lose it completely. It has a headphone jack that has 0 latency for monitoring. When you're plugged in through XLR, your gain volume on the back of the mic has no effect because you would use your gain volume knob on your audio interface. And your touch mute button there does not work as well because it's not being powered by anything. When it's plugged in via USB, your touch to mute works, and your gain volume knob now works because you're activating the preamps inside the microphone, versus with XLR you're using the preamps that are built into your audio interface, which by the way are usually much better. And for the more heady specs, I'll post them here on the screen for those of us geeks who want to know. Okay, so let's try some different distances. Right now I'm talking directly into the end of the mic, about 2.5, 3 inches, so let's say 3 inches away from the end of the mic, directly in. I'm not sure how the plosives sound with this pop filter. Actually, I like it having on a 45-degree angle like this, and again, about 3 inches or so away. Realistically, I think if I was up here, I'm kind of talking over the mic at about 6 inches. Now let's check how it sounds going to the side of the microphone. I'm keeping the volume of my voice the same, and I am coming around to the back of the microphone, and I continue over to the side again, and then now I am speaking at the front at the exact same volume. If I'm back here, it's about a foot, 12 inches or so away, and this is what it sounds like about 2 feet away. And here is the sound of the FiFine K688 microphone using XLR through my audio interface, but now mixed, using a little compression and EQ. And a little de-essing. If you want me to do a more in-depth video on how I process audio, I can do that. Just let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. We need to try this against some other mic now. So Let's try against FiFine's very own and very popular AM8. All right, so I am going to be just using the XLR with this one to get the best sound out of each of these and let you hear the difference between the two. Here is the FiFine K688, and you are now listening to the FiFine AM8. It has pretty much all the same features as the other microphone, but this one does not have a shock mount included. Instead, it has a metal base, so you can sit it on your desk. It also has RGB lighting on this one. With the K688 and its character, its filtered sound, I guess you could say, probably gives more broadcast vibes. I think it's potentially a little more of a bump in the bass area, but maybe it's a nicer sound for what you're after. The Shure SM7B, which everyone is probably quite aware of, that's used in broadcast and podcasts quite a bit, that is also a dynamic mic. Same bass kind of configuration as these. The difference with the Shure SM7B or some of the higher end broadcast mics is that they would have a little more work on the internal dampening of vibrations. These are more budget friendly microphones, so they will have a little more character than super expensive microphones, but it feels like less character in this one to me than this one. Again, character is not necessarily a bad thing. Tapping on the stand, tapping on the shock mount, and just moving the stand. You can hear that. See what's happening when I'm speaking. To my ear, I feel like the AM8 has a little more clarity or openness in the higher frequencies. The K688 feels like it has a little more of a filtered sound, as I mentioned. We're just listening for the tonality of the microphones themselves. Do you notice any difference in texture? Now, they're both dynamic mics, so there shouldn't be any difference with rejection. It's basically, they are very similar in that way. And like I said, the AM8 does not have a shock mount included, and neither of these mics really have any kind of internal shock absorption. It comes through, but nothing a good shock mount or kind of extension arm with shock mount setup wouldn't resolve. We're still listening to the AM8. One of the advantages to both these mics, dynamic mics, is that you don't necessarily need a treated room. And the last test I'll do is with a mechanical keyboard, about 8 inches from the microphone. That's what that sounds like. While I'm speaking, you can hear this and see if it's bothersome. This is me typing on a mechanical keyboard while I'm trying to speak into the microphone. Again, I'm about 8 inches or so away from the keyboard itself. See if that's too annoying, too distracting. I don't know that you would necessarily have it this close, but yeah, that's the test. I also wanted to test out a different style mic altogether, and you're hearing it now. It's the DJI Mic Mini. So we could go for a wireless mic solution in this kind of a setup. You could hook it up directly to your computer with a receiver. You can hook it up to your smartphone or to a camera directly. So a lot of different options there, and you can use it out in the field. You could put a little dead cat on it to protect against wind noise. So there's a lot of options there, but maybe you need both. Again, you're listening to the DJI Mic Mini right now in a studio kind of environment. Is there an obvious sound difference here? Is it better or worse? Honestly, I don't think there's a wrong answer here. Here you're listening to the K688, and now you're listening to the DJI Mic Mini. The K688, DJI Mic Mini. Compared with the FiFine K688 or the AM8, what is the sound quality differences when you're listening to the DJI Mic Mini? Now, I want to test this out on my smartphone, but I want to go outside to do it because why not? The cable that it comes with is a USB-A to USB-C, which the back of the microphone takes USB-C, and then my smartphone takes USB-C, not USB-A. So I'm going to need a different cable. So I will try First, I have an iPad. So this is my iPad charging cable. It's USB-C to USB-C. I know sometimes with Apple, they do things a little bit different. So with their cables and their specs on that. So I'm not sure if it will work, but let's try it. If not, I do have another one, but the cable isn't quite as long. So I'm hoping I can use this one. So on my S25 Ultra, I'm using the native camera app. And when I go in there, I can see that it is connected via the cable for the microphone. Let's see. Check, check. Checking 1, 2, 1, 2. It says it's recording through USB. Checking 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So now you can hear me speaking through the mic like this. But the big question here is, how's the quality? Is it any good? Yeah, and do you hear my hand? Like I'm holding, I could probably get a better kind of grip for this thing, some kind of a handle or something if I have to hold it like this. Otherwise, you know, you put it on a mic stand. If you're out here, maybe on your patio, having a podcast or whatever, this is how this kind of thing would work out. This is how this kind of thing would sound. I think I got all that, I need some B-roll, and that's that.